A young black male in the ghettos of Trinidad is offered a gun and a chance to have everything he wants. He takes it and he uses it, killing another member of another gang, or maybe an innocent person. He's past the initiation, because now the gang leaders know that he's willing to kill anyone and do anything for gain. So they sign him into the trade, the great big trade, the one that is global and reaches far beyond the borders of Trinidad. The one that started outside of Trinidad, outside of the ghettos. The one that started in large houses with pools and air condition in developed countries. This young black boy is signed into the ranks of the drug trade. A trade that is mixed in with the sex trade and the large-scale money laundering trade. This young black boy is not alone. There are many other young black boys who do the same thing. Kill to get in and continue killing. And because they're so willing to kill so easily anyone, the murder rate rises and the country becomes unstable, unsafe. People become under threat of violence. They can't walk the streets at night. They can't trust young black men. Police are there to enforce laws. But the police are offered money far beyond what they earn. How could they refuse? Even a police officer who comes into the force with all of the best intentions is corrupted. Because how could he turn down all of that money? How could he bring down the worst and most dangerous criminals and risk his life? Why would he risk his life instead of taking money that could make his life 10 times better? Then the police cannot be trusted, and the young men work together with the police, and the gang culture is perpetuated and it grows. And murders become like church bells, daily, hourly, normal, ignored. More gang members rise up because crime is unstoppable, because the police won't stop them, and more young black men are killed, and more murders of young black men who never got into secondary school are ignored. More young black men disappear and their doppelgangers replace them. Meanwhile, the drugs keep moving. They never stop. They're just rerouted if necessary. Some cocaine gets seized and is never inhaled, or inhaled by the very people who seize it. And the ones who it was seized from, they pay the debt with their lives. But the drugs keep moving. They keep moving by the invisible hands of the people in the developed countries with the pools and the yachts. They keep moving from country to country, no country in the world spared. No country in the world devoid of these drugs. These drugs that make the users hallucinate, feel happy, experience a boost of energy, have a heightened sensory experience of life. These drugs that if they didn't cause suicides, death, mental health problems, violence, rape, and more, they could unite nations because they are used by so many people. They're used by so many people of all different classes all around the world. And the young black men from the ghettos are the ones that keep it moving. They offer their lives for this. While the men whose hands remain invisible, whose butts soak in their warm jacuzzis, don't sacrifice anything. These men sit in their jacuzzis with naked women, maybe 5 at a time, and have orgies, and then send those women away not remembering their names. They drive cars too big for the roads, and buy up companies and stocks to make their money grow, to make their penises grow, to make their heads grow. They are inspiration for films like The Wolf of Wall Street, where a man lives a hedonistic existence with all the money of the world, yet none of the consequences. And with all the money, he can buy humans. He can buy women who come from Thailand who have nothing else to live for. Those young, vulnerable women who are desperate for a break in life. Something to hold on to, that next meal, hope for their children. Those young, vulnerable women get tricked and kidnapped and drugged with those drugs, and paid little to open up their legs to those men with those invisible hands. And sex is hard, day in and day out, without emotion, without commitment, leading to illness, leading to millions of abortions. Abortion, another form of murder, happening in the millions. Yet they're not human beings, so who cares? Who cares? No one cares about the young black men who would kill you if you just looked at them. No one cares about the young vulnerable woman who stands on the corner offering up her body unapologetically. No one cares about the man in his pool with the naked woman who continues to go about his life unharmed. The young black men, the vulnerable woman, the hedonistic wealthy man, the corrupt police, they are all part of the vicious circle of crime, poverty, inequality, and justice. Some are victims and some are suspects. Some start off as victims and become suspects, but all end up as victims. All are victims of the terrible, heart-wrenching pain of lack of fulfillment. All are victims of the heart-wrenching pain of the lack of fulfillment. The terrible pain that comes from having no access to the things that other people have access to because you're looked down on or because you're poor or discriminated against. The terrible pain that comes from having no other option than to sell your body to survive, to have hope of having a life. The terrible pain that comes from realizing that no matter how much money you have, as your money grows, the pain grows, the emptiness grows, the self-hatred grows. The terrible pain that comes from realizing that the darkness around you, the darkness that you can see right in front of your eyes is so huge and mighty and widespread that you don't know how you could even start to make it go away. All of this pain comes from lack of fulfillment, the pursuit of happiness. Happiness that cannot be found. Happiness that cannot be found in money, cannot be found in sex, cannot be found in power, cannot be found in popularity, cannot be found in respect, the respect of others. Happiness that cannot be found. A void that cannot be filled. A global problem that cannot be solved. Crime, sex trafficking, murder, abuse, corruption, greed, war. Global problems that cannot be solved except through salvation. Salvation through Jesus Christ, who defeated the enemy when he resurrected after death on the cross. His life is the solution. His transforming life. His life that transforms the hearts of men, making us more godly, less greedy, more fulfilled. The life of Jesus Christ is the solution. It is the only way for man's heart to be changed. It is the only way man's heart has ever been changed. It is the only remedy that has ever worked. Ephesians 6:1-13 says this, "Put on the full armor of God, so that you will be able to stand firm against the schemes of the devil. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the powers, against the world forces of darkness, against the spiritual forces of wickedness in the heavenly places. Therefore, take up the full armor of God, so that you will be able to resist evil, and having done everything, to stand firm." The only solution to global problems is the life of Jesus.